Apart from the type restriction on array, which requires that the elements of an array must be of the same type, it makes a lot of sense to think of a two-dimensional array as an Excel worksheet. It also makes a lot of sense to think of a three-dimensional array as an Excel workbook with two or more worksheets. You may be tempted to conclude that a one-dimensional array is the same as a row or a column in an Excel worksheet. This is not the case, but there is a special case of two-dimensional array that can be used to represent a one-dimensional array. And that representation makes a lot of sense because you can then begin to think of a one-dimensional array as a row or a column of an Excel worksheet. In fact, with that representation, you can completely do away with one-dimensional array and begin to think in terms of two, three, or more dimensional arrays. If we find out the shape of A2D, the tuple 2, 3 is returned. This indicates that A2D has 2 rows and 3 columns. If we find out the shape of A3D, the tuple 2, 2, 3 is returned. This indicates that there are 2 worksheets. Each worksheet has 2 rows and 3 columns. If we find out the shape of A1D, the tuple 6 is returned. We cannot tell if this 6 represents row or column, but we can reshape A1D to match one of 2 special cases of a two-dimensional array, such that we can then think of A1D as either a row of an Excel worksheet or a column of an Excel worksheet. To do so, we will have to alter the shape attribute of A1D to match the tuple 6, 1. The tuple 6, 1 represents 6 rows of 1 column. Alternatively, we could alter the shape attribute of A1D to match the tuple 1, 6. The tuple 1, 6 will represent 1 row of 6 columns. This statement will return A1D as a two-dimensional array of 6 rows and 1 column. And this statement will return A1D as a two-dimensional array of 1 row and 6 columns. The first result here is a lot like a column of an Excel worksheet, and the second result here is a lot like a row of an Excel worksheet. Note that calling the reshape method on an array returns the array in your desired shape. Alternatively, you may want to alter the shape of the array completely. For example, in the case of A1D, the shape of A1D have not been altered. If we find out the shape of A1D, a tuple with a single element is returned. This is because the reshape method does not alter the shape of A1D. Instead, it returns A1D in the required shape. To alter the shape of A1D, you will have to assign a tuple to the shape attribute of A1D. Now, the shape of A1D have been changed.